Hey guys, it's Devin again. This episode, talking with Nate Espitallier. We've gotten to be good friends over the past, year and a half, close to 2 years, I guess now. Most of the time we're hanging out, it's just watching football or basketball, and this time was no different. We just recorded a podcast during it. So it was good to talk to him about what happened with his accident and how that went. And about an hour and a minute in, I used my phone to record these podcasts, and I put on Do Not Disturb, and apparently Do Not Disturb doesn't mean do not receive phone calls. I didn't know that. So around that time, there's a part where it'll just cut into us talking about the Do Not Disturb doing what we thought it did. Didn't miss anything. It just stopped recording, so I just resume it right where we left off. So if it sounds like something messed up right there, that's all that happened. But other than that, hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much for listening. All right.
What you know about? What you know about?
All right. This is what we started off every time. Just go with how you got injured, where you're at now. Not even where you're at now, just how you got injured, and then we'll go from there, because we'll figure it out.
Yeah, so I got hurt while I was traveling in Thailand, January of last year. And I had recently traveled in Europe for 3 months. It was kind of my first experience traveling. It was a ton of fun. And then I came back home and worked for a little bit. And then I wanted to kind of go off and experience another place I'd have been to before. So that was, for me, that was Thailand. I flew out by myself and met a friend. And we were we were traveling in the south of Thailand, in some pretty awesome islands. So I met up with my buddy a couple days into my trip, Koh Phi Phi, which is south of Phuket, and we.
I was like, is that a city? Is that a?
Yeah, no.
Phi Phi. I was like,
Phi Phi. They're like, everyone makes fun of it for the name. But yeah, it's this little island, and it's kind of known to be like this little party island. You don't have any cars or anything, and it's just in a super beautiful area. So we were there for a few days, met up with my buddy, and we were just having a blast. And then from there, we just kind of went island hopping. So we did that, which was kind of a party island for a few days. And then we went to Koh Lanta, which was like very relaxing, kind of chill island. We were there for about a week. And then from there, we went to the island where I eventually got hurt on, called Koh Phangan, which is like famously known for their full moon parties. There wasn't one when I was there, so it's not even something I did. But again, it was another just like beautiful island. Lots of fun things to do. I was staying at a cool hostel, met some great people. So one night we were just we had all rented motorbikes, as they call it, like little like scooters, Vespas.
Yeah.
And we had been riding them like every day, and the road conditions are just pretty bad over there. So like, I had grown up like on a dirt bike and riding a bunch of stuff. So like, I always thought like, oh, I'll be fine. I'm not gonna get hurt like riding something like this. But every day I did kind of think like, man, these roads, like, well, look, like pothole here, like crack here, like chunk of concrete missing here, like it's a third world country. And so that's how I eventually ended up getting hurt. One night we just decided to go on a cruise to the other side of the island. And when I say we, there was like 6 of us, just kind of friends that I had met at the hostel, and my one friend from home. So I had someone on the back of my scooter too. So we went to the other side of the island and hung out there on the beach for a little bit. And then when we rode back, it was dark, and I had a little headlight. And I don't remember exactly how it happened really at all. Like I just kind of out of my memory. But I woke up in an ambulance, and it was it was kind of like the movies where your vision's kind of blurry and sounds kind of coming back, and you're kind of like, what is this, a dream? Like, what's going on? So I kind of woke up, and then it's pretty much immediately I realized that I couldn't move my legs, and that's, when I was kind of obviously freaking out and kind of in a state of terror. And then there was two people in the ambulance, two people from the hostel, and my friend.
Were they the ones that you knew, the people,
no?
So just kind of
one. So my buddy, who I was traveling with from home, he ended up meeting me at the hospital a few hours later. Mm-hmm. But the people, he wanted to go back and get my backpack and my belongings in the hostel, and then go meet me.
Okay.
So the two people were Europeans, a Swedish guy, and then a Dutch girl that I just met a few days before. They were super cool people, and even though I had just hung out with them or just met them 3 days prior, when you're traveling and you hang out with people for a couple days all day, you start to feel like you're really close to them, despite just meeting them. Mm-hmm. So I was with them, and they were there to kind of comfort me, and it was kind of a crazy experience. The ambulance took me to a boat dock, and then they transferred me onto a speedboat, and then they took me by speedboat to another island, which was I guess a 20 or 30 minute boat ride away. That's
crazy. You would think that a fucking speedboat, you have possibly a broken neck.
I know.
Then you're bouncing over waves the whole time. That's the best way. Helicopter? I don't know.
You would think that would be the worst thing just for a neck.
Jack in your head. But I guess there's no helicopter transportation available then.
And on top of that, I find out later too that the girl that I was with in the ambulance held my neck when I was on the ground. So I was apparently hit a pothole. I don't remember any of it. I mentioned, fell off the bike, and they found me unconscious on the side of the road. And the ambulance was apparently their EMT workers were just going to pick me up and just grab me with no neck stabilization or anything. Mm-hmm. And this girl, the Dutch girl who was on the bike behind me that met up and found me, told them to stop because she knew with her training, wait, you gotta stabilize their neck. And she obviously isn't even aware that I had, a fractured neck and back and different things. She just knew that needed to happen. So she held my neck in some interlocking way with her hands that she learned in med school, or she was learning in med school. Mm-hmm. They could have prevented further damage, That
happened too.
And it's just pretty incredible that it's that the girl happened to have is in the medical field and helped me out a ton, because I don't think I would have had the awareness in a critical time like that to think, I need to stabilize someone's neck,
Yeah.
I'd probably just be oh shit,
that's why there's some people that are doctors. Some people panic in certain situations. How are you a doctor or a nurse? You can't handle stressful situations. I feel that should be a basic thing. I've seen people that are I just get real stressed out. But you're a nurse. But someone like that who it's a situation where you need to be calm and thinking clearly, and she was able to do that.
Stay calm under pressure.
There was someone like that with because I talked with Lane last week, 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I was playing the same thing. It was someone that was with him that had the mind frame to think, I need to stabilize his neck. It wasn't the people that were helping him out in Thailand. It was until he got to the hospitals and everything. But
someone did that to him too.
Out too. Someone
I know
he
got hurt in Thailand as well.
Yeah, he dove. Yeah. He was diving, and someone held his neck and made sure. It's crazy how people know.
Yeah.
And there's someone that's keeping their head and keeping their mind clear enough to make that type of decision to help hold you.
Yeah. So she held my neck from not only from the accident onto the ambulance, but she also apparently did the same thing from the ambulance onto the boat, and then she held my neck on the boat for the entirety of the trip. Yeah,
that's huge for you.
So she's definitely my hero. Shout out to Maud in Holland. I'll tell her about this podcast and I'll have her listen. So she's incredible, and apparently she said her and my other buddy from Sweden, his name's Kim. Apparently I was awake on the boat, and they were telling me that I was like talking to them because they wanted to check kind of like my cognitive function to make sure that, you know, I was with it. And and I was saying like, you know, where I was, what had happened, like I knew what had happened, but apparently there was like an hour or two where I was awake and talking to them, but now, you know, I don't remember any of it. So the boat basically took me to another island, and it was just a clinic. So they didn't have, it wasn't really a hospital. They didn't have an MRI machine or anything. So obviously it's a pretty intense time, you know. I'm kind of freaking out, wondering like, how the hell could this have just happened? You know, everything was just fine, and, you know, just some crazy freak accident, some fluke, like what's going on? So when I got there, it was really scary, and my friends that I was with in the ambulance, and then my other friends from the hostel and my buddy from back home met me on that other island and stayed with me for 2 days until my sister and my mom arrived, which was about 2 days. And yeah, that was a really difficult 2 days just because obviously I'm paralyzed. I can't move. My hands were really weak too, so I couldn't really like, I guess I could hold my phone and do a little bit, but like my dexterity was really weak.
Oh, within 2 days you had some minimal hand function, enough where you could do a touch screen at least.
Yeah, enough where I could do a touch screen. So even though they were weak, I was never really panicking that my hands didn't work. I was just kind of like, God, my hands are really weak. You know?
What level are you?
Like C6.
C6, okay, yeah. Hi, Zoe.
That's my dog.
Hi, Zoe.
As Zoe comes in again.
Wet mouth.
She loves it.
Yeah.
So that was just really scary just because I didn't know the severity of the accident. You know, I just wanted the answers with whatever it was. So once my family arrived, we took a medical flight, like an emergency flight, which was like a small little plane from the island that I was on, and that island was called Koh Samui. And then from Koh Samui, I flew to Bangkok, which I think was about an hour flight. And when we got to Bangkok, it was just like a beautiful hospital. And it's funny because my friends and people would be like, oh, like, you were in Bangkok, like, what kind of hospital was it? Like a tent, you know? And I'm like, no, man, like, this was actually like a beautiful, like, state-of-the-art hospital that I received like better care than like a hospital in Sacramento at Kaiser, you know. That's
exactly what Lane said when he got to what people would like more mainland Thailand, I guess.
Yeah, probably Bangkok too.
Like he said, it was really good care.
Really nice.
Doctors good English speaking.
It's probably the same hospital, but
I would imagine
people, I guess, in Asia will like travel there for like nervous system related things.
Do you know the name of the hospital?
Just see, Bannon was the first one. I think it's just called Bangkok Hospital, but there might be multiple. I'll have to look.
I'll have to look it up too.
I have paperwork I can find. So once I got there, I think like the first thing I did was get an MRI, and I was in like a ton of pain. You know, I had a neck brace at that point, thankfully. I got the MRI, and I remember just thinking like, okay, this is like, I don't know whatever information this thing is picking up, like this is kind of like my fate, you know, like that. I remember thinking like just a lot over like whatever that MRI was going to pick up. And then a few hours later, whenever it was, they told us that, you know, kind of the best news possible for what the injury was that all my bones were intact. I was incomplete, which I guess they can also pick up from that. I can't remember exactly how that works, but I was also starting to get a little bit of sensory back. But basically, that everything was intact. It was a spinal cord contusion. I'm incomplete, and you know, of course, we don't know what recovery looks like, how long, if any. That whole black box, of course.
Yeah.
But I at least, you know, had some information now that I could kind of go off of, and just kind of knowing that everything was intact was obviously a big kind of relief, you know, that there wasn't like further damage. God, I know I could elaborate so much on this. There's so much.
Say whatever you want.
Say
whatever you want.
It's kind of a unique story being in Thailand. So from there, I was in Thailand with my mom and my sister in the hospital, and I was in intensive care for the initial week. Just kind of in a lot of pain, not moving around a lot, but I was working on kind of hand dexterity, you know.
What were you doing for that?
They had gave me a little stress ball. I would mess around on my phone, trying to play games on my phone. Really, anything that I would start to try to feed myself, which was kind of hard, but anything that I could. And then after that initial week, I went upstairs to just a normal room. And it was actually super nice. I had nice TV, nice couch, so the family was more comfortable. And then from there, we were just trying to figure out how I was going to get home. Because that obviously is something to deal with when you're, paralyzed in a hospital.
Yeah. What type of flight are you going to take on the way home? Have you heard about Lane's flight? How he flew home?
No, I don't think so.
He was on a stretcher, laid out on top of seats, facing the
yeah, that's just mine.
Oh, okay. So you got the same, and whatever, 6-8 inches for. I think that's what he said. His face was from the ceiling for the entire flight.
Yeah, that sounds just like mine.
What airline did you fly on?
Lufthansa.
Okay.
German.
Okay.
German company. Did he have? Well, it doesn't matter. But I had. Yeah.
Yeah. He said that was the single best decision he made of his life because of that.
That's what I was wondering if he did too, because I had travel insurance and that's how they put me up for the way home.
That's exactly what he said. Yep.
And yeah, it's crazy in regards to travel insurance. When I went to Europe, I bought travel insurance, and it covers if you lose your bag, or if you have issues with your flight, or if you have an injury or whatever it is. So it's just kind of give you peace of mind. I figure if nothing will probably happen, but if it does, I'll have some cheap travel insurance policy. So I had it in Europe. I didn't need to use it at all. Everything went fine, and then the night before I leave for Thailand, I had forgot about it, and I was planning on getting travel insurance the whole time. And it's midnight the night before I leave, and I'm thinking, I'm going over the list on my head, did you even pack socks and boxers? I'm okay, I'm good. And then it hit me oh shit, you didn't get travel insurance. I'm oh yeah, I gotta go do that. So late at night, I go real quick. I sign up for it. I mean, I don't even think it was $200. I can't even remember the name of it at the time, because I'd love to give them a shout out. But yeah, it was I think it was $200 or maybe less, and it ended up saving us $100,000, maybe more.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And I wasn't obviously dealing with any of the communication with the company once I got hurt, my parents were, but apparently they were really easy to work with, took care of everything, and so thankful that I thought to do that, and that they helped us out, because it's I don't know.
Dude, $100,000 is a lot of for a $200 payment.
Yeah,
and it saved you $100,000.
Yeah,
shit.
And I don't even want to imagine my family, that position they'd be in, you're
just one. It's one, and
your son's paralyzed, and we need 6 figures to get him home. So just having that was awesome, and I'm really thankful I had that. But same exact deal. I was in a stretcher over the seats, and I remember getting on the plane, because I got on first, and they lift you up. It's a whole kind of crazy thing, and they put me on top, and we have a little curtain, but I remember thinking geez, I'm in this little solitary confinement. And I had 2 travel nurses from the US, and I was I'm gonna need whatever sleeping pill and any pill, whatever you can give me to sedate me, I'm gonna need it, because this is gonna be brutal. And on top of that, we flew the long way home. So I went to Frankfurt, Germany first, which was I think about a 10 or 12 hour flight, and then had about a 4 or 5 hour layover, and then from there we flew to San Francisco, which is also about probably 10, 11.
Jeez. So, do they leave you on the plane on the layover?
No, we got off, and I guess the reason we went to Lufthansa is they had like a little clinic, you know, so like 4 medical flights, they have an area for people to go to.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense.
So I was there for a few hours, and I guess that was kind of a good little break, except for that I ended up getting a pressure sore. I had this like crazy tie back brace that was like leather straps with like this tie.
Where'd you get sore?
Probably looked like it was like a kinky thing, man. Like,
Did you keep it? You keep it?
no, I should have. I don't even know where it is.
I use it to this day.
I think
It's now like, it gets me going.
Yeah. Now I just wear it on game day just to get me going. That thing was crazy. Very, very Eastern. Very Eastern. So yeah, I flew home the long way, and then eventually flew into San Francisco, and then made my way to Kaiser in Sacramento.
Yeah. How are you eating? So 24. It's you're 24 hours to get home ish. 26 hours to get home. It sounds like.
Yeah.
How are you getting your nutrition on that time?
God, that's a good question.
Just IV.
That's a good
And
question. No, it wasn't
feeding bag
because
because they're not putting sandwiches in your mouth.
No, I was on an IV. I honestly, I don't really remember. I know that I ate like before I left.
Before you got on the plane,
Yeah.
you were able to eat and you could like swallow and everything. Or
Oh yeah. I didn't really have any issues like eating or like swallowing food or anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Big. Oh, okay.
I had. So like in the beginning when I was in intensive care, food, like I said, food-wise I was fine.
Oh, yeah, you said you could feed yourself. That's right.
Breathing was definitely restricted, and like I couldn't really cough. So like one of the toughest things in the beginning was like as I would like get kind of, you know, if I was getting kind of congested or like, you know, a little bit of like phlegm would build up as I clear my throat currently. I just didn't really have the strength to like cough much. I could like barely, so it's kind of like
Yeah.
So that was actually a concern in the beginning of like, are we gonna have to like clear his lungs, or like is he gonna be like strong enough? But fortunately I was okay. I don't really remember. I think they probably just like gave me snacks on the plane, but like I said, I was definitely under the influence of Valium or whatever the hell I could get my hands on or whatever they gave me. So like I kind of remember that travel day, but that's all kind of a blurry thing. I remember being in Germany for the layover. I remember getting on the plane, but the bulk of like the travel time I don't really remember. I'm sure they probably gave me a snack of some sort, but
yeah, that's why I'm wondering.
But I'm fortunate for for my injury in my cervical area to, you know, super lucky they could just like hand me a granola bar and I could reach out and grab it, open it, eat it, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to have an IV, or I didn't really need to be hooked up to anything, you know, so
makes it easier.
I guess like, you know, in the 2 weeks that I was in Thailand, the state that I entered there versus where I left, there was, looking back now, there was definitely, I had come a long ways in those 2 weeks, even though I had only been laying down basically. I did a little bit of PT in Thailand. Like they would get me on an kind of, I don't know if you call it an inversion table, but that's kind of how I look at it as, like a big ol' like mat that they can like crank up at an angle. You know,
are your feet supported so they stay dorsiflexion?
Yeah,
it's a tilt table.
Exactly, like tilt table.
We have them at SCF Fit.
So you know, to kind of help with like blood pressure and acclimation to
being upright, because that blood pressure thing is real.
Oh man, it's real, yeah. Yeah, get another claw.
Oh yeah, White Claws.
Ain't no laws. And in regards to the blood pressure, it's funny because God, I'm so mean to my poor mother. But they'd be like, you know, like if you start to get kind of dizzy or you feel like you're gonna pass out, you know, your hearing might start to kind of go. They were telling me like what will happen. So when I was on that table, my mom, of course, you know, bless her heart's like super concerned and scared for me every second. She's like, you know, she calls me Nene. She's like, "Are you okay, Nene? Like, is everything gonna be fine?" You know, all the time, and I
can hear it.
And I know, because you know, and I'm such a shit. I'd be like, I'd be like, yeah, I'm okay, and then be like, oh, I don't know, like I'm feeling kind of dizzy, and then I would like pretend to pass out for a second. She'd be like, oh my god, and then I would look at her and smile, and I'm like looking back, I'm like, God, like just put my poor mother through the ringer, but
it's
once
probably good to like, it's a tough time, but probably good for her mentally to at least see that you can have sort of a sense of humor.
Yeah,
like. Okay,
exactly. Yeah.
As tough as it is, it's one of the harder times of a lot of people's lives. Now, obviously yours, but you're their son. They're dealing with that too. But you've been able to joke around a little bit. Okay, you're still in there. You're struggling through, but still able to do that.
Like her and my mom and my sister commented on that too. They're like, oh, you're still like making jokes, so that was that was a good sight and everything.
Yeah. It's helpful when, and even now, because you make jokes at the facility all the time. Like, it's so helpful, not just to you and but to everyone. Like, you joking around with everyone makes people going through shit so much happier.
More
like
enjoyable,
you carrying that fucking clown for Halloween.
Sorry, Alana.
For Halloween, that thing was so funny. Like, you're making jokes, you're clonus with it and all that. I was like just, it's super funny, and like you're making light of like a serious issue, but you like passing out and doing that. Like, okay, your mom can kind of see what it looks like, because people don't realize how much of an issue blood pressure can be. Like, they don't realize, like, oh, you take it for granted because you're standing and the muscles are pumping that blood back up. But if your muscles down low aren't firing, then they're not pumping the blood back up.
Yeah.
If there's no blood going up, that means blood pressure is going to drop, and people don't realize that until. So for her to be able to even see how it would look, like, how to at least aware of, okay, this is what could happen, right? Like, and so,
it's funny too, like thinking I feel like I've had so many times where I've come so close, but I haven't passed out at all. So I guess that's a good point.
Well, you're good at knowing.
Yeah.
And then the people around you, and I know at the facility, like, we'll talk about it and you'll be like, hey, I think I'm going. And you and I, because we work together, the way we work together, I know that we can sit there and be like, all right, we can ride it till the end, because we know that like I can get you out of whatever position you're in, and you can go, and so we just
other people going through this will probably understand too. It's like you start to get so in tune with your body. Like, there's certain times where I can feel it tanking fast, and I'm like, I gotta sit down now, and I'll get I'll get really tingly in my legs and my arms, like. Is that
the feeling? It's a tingling sensation in your legs and your arms when it's dropping?
Yeah, and I have like nerve pain. My feet are kind of always tingling, but this will be like super intense in my arms and my legs, and it will tank. But most of the time, it's just kind of like a slowly going, so I can try to fight it or try to work with it. But yeah, that was a huge struggle in the beginning, and obviously it's a new injury. No one really probably knows what a spinal cord injury is like or ever thought about it before it happens, but just like in the beginning in the hospital, like just trying to sit up, just sitting out of bed, is like, the thought of that was like a huge task and a huge deal and accomplishment, because I would try, aside from my basically having no core strength in the beginning, being C6, so my line is very high chest. I just couldn't sit up for more than a second or two before I was about to pass out. But
that's crazy.
That is crazy, because you're thinking like, okay, I want to work on recovery, and I want to get upright, and you want to do everything you can to get better, but that was kind of a difficult and deflating thing of like, well, this is going to be hard to get on my feet because I can't even sit for a second, but fortunately, something you work on and just slowly starts getting better. And inpatient rehab. So after I was in Kaiser for a couple, I guess
Kaiser in Sacramento.
Yeah. What was that? How long was I there? Like three weeks, I guess.
Acute rehab. Inpatient?
I was in. So when I got home from Thailand, I'm kind of jumping around. I went to Kaiser in Sacramento. So that was like I was in the hospital for another 3 weeks, and then from there I went to acute inpatient rehab in Santa Clara.
Oh, that's right.
Part of the reason why I ended up in Kaiser in Sacramento for so long, because the goal was to get us into inpatient rehab as soon as possible to, get upright, get more exercise, just for like recovery, it's best to obviously, get on your feet and do things you can as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But because I was in Thailand and because of this, just I guess the situation, the circumstances of my injury, I didn't have stabilization surgery. Like I have no surgery, which I realize is very rare for spinal cord injuries. But when I got to Sacramento and the doctors got all the information from Bangkok and they found out that I didn't have stabilization surgery, they were kind of, I guess kind of appalled. Honestly, they were kind of freaking out. They were like, "What do you mean you don't have stabilization surgery?" Because I fractured apparently C5, 6, 7, I think T1, and then T8 and 9 for sure. Because I have that awesome turtle shell back brace that you've seen.
Yeah.
And like, of course, if I was here in the U.S., they would have done stabilization surgery, and had screws and rods and everything. But apparently, when I got hurt in Thailand, and they were looking at me and the neurosurgeon and the doctor and then my sister and my mom were all kind of talking, and the neurosurgeon said, I don't think he needs stabilization surgery. Like all of his bones are intact. Like his fractures are on the outside. Like we don't think we need to like operate on him. But they mentioned, if you were in the U.S., this is something that we would do. So my mom and my sister were like, I guess they just asked, like, what would you do if this was your son, And he said, I wouldn't operate if this was my son, so they didn't operate on me. So, like, now, I'm glad, all my bones are fine, and, like, I don't have metal in me, so I'm thankful for that, But that was kind of funny, like going to Sacramento and having the American doctors just like, Zoe.
Hi, Zoe.
Having the American doctors just completely freak out,
She's cool.
I was gonna see what my dad was doing.
She's cool. Doesn't matter. She can stay in. Yeah, leave it up. She can stay in. Doesn't matter.
So the reason I was kind of there for so long is they just took a ton of x-rays. Like every 2 days I was taking x-rays because they were just afraid that like I was going to re-injure my neck or re-injure my back. Something was going to happen while I was in a hospital bed,
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh my God, how does he, we can't deal with this kid. Like he didn't have stabilization surgery. But like I didn't need it, clearly.
Yeah, it's good. For the most part, if you can get through different situations without being invasive, I think it's good.
Yeah.
Like obviously there are certain things that you got to go in and do it. But if you don't have to,
definitely
there's benefits to just letting things do their thing without anything being inserted into your body.
And that was kind of a nice thing to hear. Well, obviously, when you're in the hospital and you can't move your legs and you were just on vacation and everything was great, you're kind of freaking out and life is tough. So to hear that like I don't have to have an invasive surgery or anything, that was definitely good.
Yeah.
There was also talk about doing surgery on like my cheekbone. Like where my scar is, I broke this bone.
The right side?
On the right side, yeah. It's like your orbital little eye bone or eye socket.
Got matching scars there.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted to, or like I had a specialist for like who was going to do that surgery, and she was talking about like it's up to you, but this is a surgery we can do. Apparently, like I have the space between my bone and like my eyelid is greater on my injured side versus like my normal side.
I would never be able to tell if you didn't. No, I can't. You told me, and I still can't tell.
I know, I can't really
like,
either. And at the time, everything, like, I had a huge black eye and it was swollen. It was actually swollen shut for a while, so I was like, couldn't really see, so that was a little brutal. But she was talking about, she's like, yeah, and granted, she's Thai, so she like, doesn't speak a lot of English, you know, so this is kind of like tough to understand all these people at times, even though they were great. But she's like, yeah, like, we're basically just gonna go in, like, we're gonna crack the bone open and like move it up towards my eye, and I'm like, is this something I need to do? And she's like, no, like, it's basically just like, you know, cosmetic thing if you want to do it. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, no,
I'm not too worried about the cosmetics at this point in time.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Steve?
Check this out.
We're just doing a little
This podcasting.
little podcast.
You up in this thing, Steve? Oh, Jesus.
Where is that?
In New Orleans.
Oh,
1 dead, 3 missing, 18 hurt after Hard Rock Hotel collapses on Canal
Look
Street.
at that. It collapsed.
Jesus. That's this
wow.
today?
Yeah, 3 hours ago.
Oh my god, we gotta call. We hit up.
I was just there.
We gotta hit up Mark. See if he's good. If the family's good. Jesus.
So it just
Just happened 3 hours
collapsed.
ago. This morning, yeah.
They don't think anything like bomb related or anything.
It just collapsed.
Dang.
That's
1 dead,
that's-
3 missing, 18 hurt after Hard
What are you
Rock
doing,
Hotel
Mika?
collapsed.
That's
on Canal
crazy.
Street. You know what? That looks like it might be new construction, guys.
Oh my gosh.
It
Still.
is new construction. That's,
Oh, here's the piece.
Oh, okay.
That broke off.
all right.
Oh, the broken.
So I'm tearing out the zucchini.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd see if there's any on there. Look at the little teeny tiny one. Because it's not a stem. Because if it was a stem, it'd be
That's a.
hollow.
Hey,
I
in case
thought
I
it.
forget, I'm putting it with the glue.
I honestly thought those were roaches. I was like, did you? Is she bringing in roaches? I thought she was bringing in roaches to be like, you leave these around.
I was thinking, like, she's like, you want to put these in a Ziploc? You want to bring these down?
I'm like, oh, those are big. Those are big flowers on those too.
Yeah, they are. Oh, they're still cool. Yeah, they're big, and you know you can eat the flour.
Yeah.
I don't know that it tastes very good, but I was gonna leave it in. But man, after that hail, did Nathan show you the picture of our to the hailstorm we had on September 28th because it was our class reunion? It just tore up so much stuff, the
looks good.
tropicals and everything. But so I just thought I'm tearing the garden out and I'm done.
Yeah, no, let's shoot. There you go.
It was a good year.
Got you a little something.
It was a great year in the garden. Tomatoes, zucchinis.
Oh yeah, dude, those when the basil we had that your dad sent me home with. Come on.
Remember we got back into your car and we're like, what is that
That's
smell?
so much basil after the fundraiser.
We're like, it's that basil, baby.
Dude, I would just like bite something and then put a basil leaf in my mouth. It was so good.
We're like, that's that fresh basil, son.
All right. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, it was so she was saying it was just purely. She was like, all right, I'll do cosmetic surgery on you right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like crack it open, move it up closer to your eye.
Yeah, so I had like in Thailand was kind of cool is I had like my main doctor. I don't know if he was like a physical medicine and rehab doctor. I don't know what his exact title was, but everyone was like a specialist. So I had like at one point like 10 to 12 different people, you know, because I had I have just kind of like a small knee injury, like a scar here from a wound from the accident.
Oh, from the accident. Okay.
So I would have like a specialist that were working on like my
what happened to your knees?
my
actually
knee.
happened to your knee?
Yeah.
What? No.
Like structurally,
Yeah,
everything.
what did it do when you
Structurally,
fell?
everything is fine now, but apparently just. So when I got in the accident on the motorbike, I was wearing just fantastic protective gear. I was wearing like board shorts and a tank top. I did have a helmet on, which could have very well like saved my life or saved me from a brain injury. I just fortunately made the right decision to wear a helmet.
I don't know how people don't wear helmets on those.
I know, like most people there riding don't have helmets on, and
People here ride motorcycles with no helmets on. They're like, what? I don't get it.
I read like the the process to rent the Vespa, and I had it on another island too. Like, the process to rent them is so fast, like, and so easy. It's like, oh, like, give me some money, give me your passport, you know, so you don't steal the thing. Mm-hmm. Like, sign here, and like in a minute you're on the bike, you know. So in Copenhagen, where I got hurt, same thing, and I'm about to get on the bike, and I was with a friend as well, so I was gonna take him on the bike, and I'm like, I get on, I'm about to put the key in it, and it hits me like, maybe I should like have a helmet on, you know, like all those years of mom and dad saying like, put a helmet on, put your elbow pads on, you know, like mom being mom. Honestly, like years of just like parents being parents, like I really think is like what, like that split. It was just a split second decision of like, oh, like maybe I should wear a helmet. You know,
I don't see how you would not wear a helmet. It hurts when you get it. Like when someone accidentally headbutts you from a standstill. Yeah, you like. Your eyes water up if you get headbutted in the nose, or but 40 miles an hour flying off a Vespa. I know. I'll be fine without a helmet. Or 70 miles an hour, or 90 miles an hour on the freeway with no helmet. You're an idiot.
I kind of wondered too. Even if I would have left without a helmet, I would have went back for one, because like I snowboard, and it's like once you start wearing a helmet for things, you feel naked without one. You know?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy to not like when you don't have a helmet.
It'd be like you like playing safety.
Yeah, let me come down with no helmet. I'm blasting one play. Like I was in warm-ups with the kid last week, and I was like, "Hey, just get a release," and he accidentally headbutted me in my tooth, and I was like, "Well, just lost a tooth."
Here we go. Like,
who doesn't wear a helmet? Are you fucking kidding me? That's great. That's crazy. You're an idiot. Well, I don't crash. You're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
That's exactly.
But I want people to see me. You're an idiot.
That's exactly what I thought. Like, I rode a dirt bike for years. Like,
well, don't crash. Good, because
I'm a good driver. Like, I'm not going to crash.
Yeah, you know? But other people aren't. Even if you're a great driver, other people aren't. Like it's out of control, and the best drivers in the world crash. Yeah. It's fucking crazy when people don't wear helmets to me. White Claws. I'm gonna say it every time we open one.
Another White Claw. We're gonna go with the raspberry, folks.
Oh, what about lime? Hot damn.
Someone's got a lime.
So did anything happen to the guy that was on your bike with you then, or on your scooter with you?
Yeah, so he got hurt, but it was he's fine now. He had like some minor injuries.
Minor like scrapes, or minor like comparatively? Like did he break anything? I guess both.
Or? Yeah, sorry. It's kind of. I was just thinking in my head like what exactly he had.
Yeah, he didn't break his neck, but he collarbone or something.
So he definitely had some scrapes, and probably has. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a couple like scars, like I do as well. But why he was in the hospital, I guess, for a couple days was they wanted to make sure of like he didn't have any internal bleeding, and one of his organs they were thinking was injured or something. So I guess he was in the hospital for a couple days. They like checked all of his like organs and making sure everything was fine. There was no internal bleeding. And he ended up being fine. I can't remember. I think he had to be on some medication. I've tried to reach out to him. I haven't really been able to talk to him. I don't think it's like a matter of him like being mad at me or anything. I think it's just like I just haven't really been able to reach him. His friend Kim, who I was in the ambulance with, I have talked to though, and he's the one that's told me like he's fine, and he went on traveling a few days later, and was okay. So yeah, like I don't want to downplay it in any regard, but like he did have some injuries. Fortunately, he was just able to, shake it off.
I wasn't trying to say downplay it, but just I was.
No, I know. I was just trying to remember it because I couldn't remember what, like, if it was like his kidneys or something, But yeah, thankfully he's fine, and I'm just really glad he's okay because it was hard enough what I was going through, but if I was driving the bike and he was on the back, holding on. Fortunately, he didn't have to hug me, like what everyone would think, like a girl hugging their motorcycle man. He was holding on to kind of the back and to the side, they had like a thing to hold on to. So yeah, it's tough to like know, like I don't know what happened when I hit the pothole or whatever it was, how exactly it happened, if he came over me or whatnot, but but I'm just glad that I'm glad that he's fine, because if, you know, I've even thought about, like, what if I had his injury and he had mine, you know? Like, how hard that would be to live with, knowing that, like, I was, even though I didn't obviously mean to get in an accident, it was a complete accident. That'd be a tough thing to deal with. If some kid, and you know, some kid I just met in Sweden was paralyzed and his life was changed, but fortunately he's good. He's good now.
That's good.
So and everything.
All right. So what did you do in you were in acute then in San Jose?
Yeah, so from Kaiser I went to acute rehab in San Jose, and that was basically kind of the first time that you get into a wheelchair that they really... Thanks, Zoe.
Yeah, nice.
She's really on one today.
Love it.
She's really excited to see you.
Love it.
Oh, shit. So, like, yeah, I think it was, like, the first day I got in there, like, in the evening, stayed the night there, of course, and then I think it was the very next day they got me in the wheelchair.
They get you going. They get you going.
They're like...
3 hours a day, let's rock.
They're like, we don't care if you're going to pass out, if you're going to try to pass out on us, like, what the deal is, like, we're getting your ass up, and, like, we're moving.
It's what you need.
It's what you need.
You know, you need... However bad it sucks.
Exactly.
You need it right then. Right now. Let's go.
Everyone, you know... It's a tough time, but I think everyone kind of needs a little bit of tough love, and even if it's tough at the time, it feels good to get up and moving. It wasn't really tough for me. I'm kind of built of, like, I'm competitive and I want to get better, so I'm kind of built, like, get me up now, like, let me do, like, anything I can, you know? I was kind of geared more towards that, but yeah, so I think the very next day, they had me in a wheelchair that was kind of like this crank back wheelchair, and I had an IV in me, so I just probably looked like the Bad News Bears being pushed to rehab, you know, because
that's how everyone does it.
Everyone's in that position, you know, in the beginning, and I'd be going down the hallway, and I remember thinking, like, holy shit, like, I'm gonna faint down this hallway, like, I can barely, like, and I didn't really have a lot of core strength too, so I'm kind of, I had a big back brace, or
you're still in the turtle shell, yeah, the eggshell.
Yeah. And I'm kind of holding on, you know. And I'd be like, I'm getting dizzy, and they could crank the thing back, you know.
Just yep.
So I'd be like, da, 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 da. You know?
It's like the chair's on like an arc system, right?
Yeah.
So you're sitting in the chair, and they click these things that look like bicycle brakes, and they pump your whole chair back. Your knees go up over your chest. That's how all the blood that's pulling your legs goes boom, and it shoots it back up in your chest.
Funny,
like,
it doesn't matter if you're like in the middle of like the walkway with all the bright lights and like a million nurses running around. Like they'll just crank your ass back.
Let's go.
It's like, here we are, you know. And
keep it pushing.
It's like I'm in like 5 o'clock traffic on like the main walkway, you know, and I'm like, just crank me back, dude. I'm losing it. He's going down. So they would crank me back, but yeah, it was awesome. Like they would get me on the mat, and if I felt like I was gonna pass out, you know, they would help me out in whatever way. But it was just it was an awesome place, and in Santa Clara it was like a new rehab facility. So apparently before they would have multiple patients in one room, and which would obviously be difficult to sleep. It's already difficult to sleep because they wake us up all the time for like blood work, for blood work, and you know, going to the bathroom, caffeing, or whatever the case may be. You're awake all the time, even in my own room. But at the old facility, I would have had a lot more roommates, and it would have been like a lot different of an experience. But I guess I was one of like the very first people at this new facility in Santa Clara. So that was pretty awesome. Also, I had my own room with a TV and like a little couch that would fold out into a bed for a family that was always staying with me.
That's cool. Yeah, I bet you had a lot of people staying with you too.
Yeah, that was incredible. I had just
your support system,
family all the time. Yeah, my support system is incredible.
Better than a lot of them. Not better in terms of, maybe better is the wrong word, because a lot of the people that I see, or that we see at least, have like super good support systems. But you have a lot of people in your support system too. So not better, bigger. I'll say that. Because everyone, I think, yeah. Because I don't want to. I gotta be careful about saying better, because I know a lot of people that have fucking beasts as support systems. But whether it's friends, parents, a group of friends, family, brothers, anyone, but you have everyone.
Got a lot
You have a lot of people.
a
You have a
big
lot
group.
of people. I've seen friends come with you, parents come with you, sisters come with you, ex-girlfriends come with you, like
That's true.
girlfriends, ex-girlfriend come with, like, everyone's brought you. Like, your
Yeah.
system is fucking legit.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's something I'm just really thankful for. My family, my friends, everyone. You know, so many people have helped me out and have come together and basically just done anything that they can. And it's hit me multiple times where, like the kind of the cliche saying of family first, you know, and it's always something like we would say or I would say, but I never really thought a lot about it. But like when I was paralyzed and like everything changed in a flash, you know, like I saw firsthand what family first is all about, you know. Like my family, my mom and my sister flew out immediately. More family would have, but that was enough. That was kind of the people based on the circumstances that was fit for the job. You know, my dad was about to go through surgery and had some medical things going on, you know, so he would have loved to come, but they just came. And
been there, yeah.
and then all my friends' support, and even to this day, you know. So yeah,
you got a lot. Yeah,
it's pretty it's definitely awesome having all that support. So yeah, I guess I was in Santa Clara two different times, kind of going back to my days in the inpatient.
Yeah,
I was there for like 3 weeks initially, and again I had my I call it a turtle shell, my back brace.
yeah. It's a whole. It's so what it looks like it's a whole. Like it's a turtle shell. It goes around your entire torso, like neck to hips.
Yeah.
And straps in the front, doesn't it? Or
Yep.
straps on the sides. I guess there's different
Yeah,
ones.
kind of on the sides.
Yeah, and
It's basically
presses onto you.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that
It's
you
literally
can't
just like a
round.
shell that like is cut down the sides with like straps.
So you
'Cause
can't go anywhere with your spine, thoracically mostly, but you can't really go anywhere. You're stuck in it. In your eval, were you still in it when you came into SCI Fit? Were you still in it?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, you're one of
Because I had to be. They said like 3 months minimum in the neck brace and the back brace.
Uh-huh.
And I remember kind of complaining when I got that fucking turtle shell. It was like, because like you have no mobility and it's so uncomfortable. And I remember thinking like, you guys got to have something like better than this, you know. But I guess they were saying because of the fractures that I had at T8 and 9.
Oh shit, Georgia lost. Damn.
Wow, that kid is pissed. I guess based on I think it was just they wanted to be like an extra. Jesus, I think we got some painting going on today. Shut the door.
Oh, Zoe.
Zoe, thank you for letting us know. Thank you.
She's happy Alabama's losing.
Zoe, no.
I want Alabama to win, but she's happy Alabama's losing. Zoe, come here. Okay. There we go.
Zoe, come on. We're just trying to we're doing a podcast. She keeps interrupting us.
Here, close the door.
Well, she'll open it.
Well, then let me put her out.
All right,
Lovely dog there.
Zoe.
Remind me what we were just talking about again.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I was thinking about football, the dog.
There's a lot going on.
Something about I think in Santa Clara. We were talking about the turtle shell, I think.
Oh yeah, we just talked about like what it is. Oh, you said there has to be something better.
Oh yeah.
than
So basically, I was just like, why the hell am I in this turtle shell? You know, and
immobilization.
they admitted that there was better braces, but they were just trying. Yeah, they really just wanted to keep me all tight knit. So I was in Santa Clara initially for like 3 weeks with my neck and back brace on.
Mm-hmm.
And that was good. Like I was on the mat, I was learning like, okay, how do you, like when you're laying down, how do you get up, all the different techniques, you know, which is really difficult when you have no core strength and really weak.
How did you do that with the turtle shell on then? Because you can't just sit up.
It was tough, and what I was getting to was I had so I went home after the 3 weeks with the turtle shell and the neck brace on, and then I was home for a good, I guess, close to a month. I was home, and then I went back to rehab once I got the neck brace and the back brace on, off.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. When I got those off, because they were, the doctors were telling me, and physical therapists, and it was obvious, is once you get those braces off, you're gonna have so much more mobility. Oof. Like everything will be much easier in terms of dressing and just everything you have to do for daily life. So yeah, I was there for 3 weeks with the braces on. I did everything I could. I could still go hit weights and do different things.
Were you doing that then? Like
I was, yeah. And
with all your stuff on, or when you got it off?
No, like with my neck and back brace on, like in the wheelchair, and there were even times where I had like an IV on. I think at one point I had like 2 different bags. Like I had an IV on for liquids, and I had another one on for like maybe a UTI or something. I don't know. But I just remember going in there the first few days in that crankback wheelchair with like, someone had to push the cart of like...
Yeah, you got to put... Yeah, I remember doing like being in there and we're walking in with people and going, and the PT is like, "Hey, Devin, push the IV bag." While I pushed it, I'm like, "Let's go then." Yeah, that's good. And so
I remember thinking like I remember just and the weight. Their little like weight room is awesome. Again, I'm in this brand new.
This is Santa Clara, so.
Santa Clara, yeah. And I'm just
Valley Med.
Yeah, and like everything is brand new, like I said. So it's just super awesome that I'm in all the facilities and all the like accessible machines.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's pretty awesome. Really, I remember thinking like, God, like I'm so like I look so bad, like I can't even sit up, like. How am I gonna like be doing these weights? Even though I wanted to like try it, but I would get in there and like you look around and it's like some people are in decent shape in a wheelchair, but like other people are in bad shape too. Like some people are in worse shape than me, and like it's like whatever you can possibly do or we can help you do, like you're gonna do. And so that was really cool. Like even if I could only go in there and curl like a 10-pound weights because I didn't have very much hand strength, just getting some sort of workout in, was...
Yeah. I think that's partially what's good about...
A lot for the mind, too.
Yeah, that's what's good about acute rehab, making you go into the gym and do things. When there are other people in there, they're not keeping you by yourself. That's what's good about SCI Fit. You're doing things like your statement there, even like, oh, if I could only curl a 10-pound weight. But 10 pounds is a shit ton for someone to curl who has a spinal cord injury up at the sea level.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's a lot of weight. There are people that can't curl a 1-pound weight, right? And so you can see someone be like, oh, okay, well, I could be there. And that person that can only curl the 1, maybe they're like, ooh, I can't curl the 1, but at least I can speak, right? Because they see someone who can't speak. And then the person that can't speak but can move go, well, at least I can move. And so everyone sees something that they can be like, okay, well, at least I have this, and I have one thing to work on, and I have someone to talk about. Like it's huge being able to see someone who is better than you in one way and at a place that you are looking to get to in another way.
Sure.
So you can both kind of like talk to each other, build off of that type of thing, and it's huge. It's being able to see that type of thing.
For sure.
One-on-one with the doctors and with a professional is important, but you shouldn't be isolated in terms of one-on-one, and that's all you see. You need to see other people.
Definitely. It was nice when you meeting other people that were going through it. Because that was the first time I was able to kind of connect with people that were going through it.
Well, but again, your joking attitude probably like helped some people there too.
Yeah,
like your personality is something that helps a ton of people, not just people who are injured. Like I've seen like people have bad days. Like there are times I'm like, Nate's coming in though.
Yeah,
like just you bring an energy with you.
Yeah, and
that's helpful in many ways.
Yeah, I appreciate that. People. I do get complimented a lot for maintaining a positive attitude and being happy and cheerful and still being funny and I and like I appreciate it, but it's like you know, I still go through hard times, of course, you know,
as you would
as everyone would. Like I still have difficult times. I still have times when I'm not feeling positive or I'm just kind of pissed off. But
is it
overall? I still enjoy making people laugh, and
because you're a funny dude.
You know, that's kind of my personality.
Is it? Do you? So this frustrates me, and maybe it only frustrates me because I'm looking at it from like an outside perspective. Does it frustrate you when like you are having a day where you're frustrated? You're having a time when you're like, fuck this, and everyone's like, yeah, but at least you can do it, and they're like, be positive, like, and they're telling you just be positive, and does it frustrate you when you want to be like, just let me be annoyed for like 10 minutes?
Oh, for sure.
Like, because I can see how that would be like, what the just let me be for 10 minutes and get the shit out.
For sure.
Because I've never seen you super frustrated. I've seen you like, this sucks, but never like, and I'm sure there's those times, but does it get on your nerves when there's people like that? Are there people like that?
Yeah,
I'm
like
sure
I've had people helping me before, you know, that have said like, well, at least you have your hands, you know, and it's like, don't tell someone they can't walk, like, just don't say that to someone who can't walk, trust me, like, I'm not downplaying how thankful and grateful I am that I have my hand function as a quad, like, and now, like, full hand function, like, I'll get a little bit of, like, kind of like tone or like tightness, you know.
But you're moving your hands really well,
But like my hands, like they're completely fine, you know. So like, not to take anything away from how grateful I am with that, but yeah, you just got to be. Anyone has to be really careful with saying at least, like at least this, at least that, like because it's like anyone is allowed to be upset.
You gotta have that time.
Yeah, and. You know, I kind of, and everyone, like, people know this, you know, but to put in perspective, like, with a spinal cord injury is, like, if I could wake up tomorrow and walk but not run, like, that would be an incredible thing. Like, if I could just wake up tomorrow out of bed, like, stand up and walk around, obviously that would be, like, an absolutely incredible thing. I'd be, you know, so happy, you know, so on and so forth. But, like, if you told me in the beginning, like, oh, you're going to get injured and you're going to be able to walk, but you're never going to be able to run again. Like, that would be devastating to me alone if I couldn't run. Because, like, I'm an athletic person.
All right. Well, I don't know where we're at. We were talking about the do not disturb is bullshit. But,
apparently that function doesn't work too well.
We're going to go airplane mode is what we're going to do. Do not... that's nonsense. Dude, how am I supposed to... If I put on do not disturb, I don't want to be disturbed.
Yeah.
That means no fucking phone calls. What's the difference? Then why, if I don't want it on airplane?
I think they...
It doesn't matter.
I think do not disturb failed if you're disturbed.
Brand new... Okay, so...
But basically I was just saying... To put it in perspective, like, if I could wake up tomorrow and walk, like, that would be the most incredible thing in the world for me. Even if I couldn't run, right? If I could just walk and not run, like how incredible that would be. But in the beginning, if I was told like you're gonna have an injury, you're gonna be able to walk again, but you'll never be able to run again. And like, I'm not insinuating that this is the case at all or anything. I'm just trying to kind of make perspective here. Like if someone was just like, you're not gonna be able to run again, like that would be super hard to deal with. Like that would be kind of a devastating thing in and of itself. Because everything we're comparing to, everything baseline is no spinal cord injury, right? Like able-bodied life, like running, walking, going upstairs, like having to eat, like you forget something in your car, you can jump out of your car and go inside and get it, or you can hop out of bed and go grab something, you can go grab your phone that you left in the bathroom, you know, all these little things, you know, so I guess just my rant on if anyone says like, well, at least you have this, at least you have that. It's like, well, I don't really want to hear that because I'm allowed to, like, anything that wasn't what it was before is upsetting, you know?
Yeah.
Now you can, of course, like, we still gotta do what we can to be positive and not I try to be in a good mood and not sulk about things because I want to be enjoyable to be around. But yeah, just in regards to like how people treat you, it's like obviously I think you have to just allow people to be upset and
yes, you have to be able to be upset.
Grieve.
Like, it's a natural thing to be upset over anything. Like obviously, yes, you find the good in things, and that's good. You should be looking for the good in things, but it's completely natural, appropriate, necessary to be able to mourn the loss, even if it's just temporary, hopefully, right, of something that you once had, whether it's finger function, leg function, cognitive function, and it starts to come back. While it's gone, if you can't, for a little bit of the time, just be like, fuck this, like, that's an energy release too, a little bit, like,
yeah,
like, and you gotta be able to do that. Like, I've seen an SCI fit just working there, learning, be like, when someone's having a day like that,
yeah,
you just gotta be like, yep, I get it.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you need from me then? Exactly. I can't be, well, look at this person who they're on the... Yeah, that doesn't help you. No. That's like, well, there's kids in Africa starving. I'm fucking hungry now. Like, I get it. I know they're starving over here. I haven't eaten since yesterday, though. I'm hungry right now, and I feel for them, but what does that do right now for what I'm feeling?
Exactly.
Like, it's got to be practical, too.
Exactly, and...
like...
That was, like... I think... Like you mentioned something about how things were before, or like, your old life and or grieving your old life, and I think that's kind of really what it is like I have to grieve, or like I am grieving my old life, and that doesn't insinuate any that doesn't insinuate any things for my new life, or that it will be bad or anything. It's just that regardless of how you view your new life, like your old one is gone, you know, and that's
you do fun things now still.
Exactly. Like I still like in the beginning, and a lot of people would probably say this, like I felt like my life was over. Like every day sucked. Like I mean, it was brutal. Like it took me a long time to find enjoyment really like in anything. Like it's just fucking brutal.
I believe it.
Like I went from one day going traveling in Thailand, like being as free as possible, to I can't get out of bed. Like that was a pretty big shock. Even if I wasn't traveling, and even if you're just living even if I was living my day-to-day 9 to 5, it doesn't matter. Like if you're one day can't get out of bed, that's a huge deal. So yeah, I guess in the beginning I was kind of like naive because I was scared, and I was kind of thinking like, I don't really need to grieve this old life because like maybe I can just like get up and walk super quick and in a year, and you're just kind of scared. So I feel like I shouldn't speak for everyone, just for myself. I was scared, and so I was kind of naive, thinking like, I'll just get up and walk, and everything will just kind of work out, which it still can. But now that I'm coming up, I'm over a year and a half. I'm coming up on 2 years,
which is relatively short in the time frame of things. Just saying, I think it was you that were you talking about last week? Someone who was 5 years out from injury, and then they started and you are taking steps with support, but without. Like with support from our harness, but not. I'm not pulling your legs through. You're pulling through, locking out without stim on your core now. We can talk about that, but being 24 months out ish, and
what am I, like 20
months out, and that's like, people don't realize how long you're in spinal shock for. Like you're swollen for a long time. When people go, about 9 months out to a year out is what you're gonna get. What?
Yeah.
What? I can't say, because 9 months out to a year out, you could still be in spinal shock and be swollen. So then, how are you supposed to
That's the other thing that's so tough about it is we get fed so much like different information depending on what doctor you have and what they believe, and like there's just so much murky information, and most of it is just because it's a spinal cord injury, so like we don't really know.
There are in the iterations of spinal cord injury
but
/ brain
how
injury are
it's
innumerable. Like
exactly,
there's so
like,
many ways
the
of
spectrum of like how it will be explained or what could possibly happen.
Well, being injured on the posterior aspect of the back of the spinal cord versus the front of the spinal cord, 2 millimeters up. Is it at an angle? Does it go all the way through? Does it go from back to front or left to right to left? Which side?
And it's like
there's so many different ways, and so they can't tell you anything. But what?
And like as you can imagine, if your loved one is like paralyzed, like all you want is answers, and all you get is no answers.
Yeah, dude,
it's pretty brutal.
Like, well, I think the worst thing that I hear is when doctors say, I'd almost rather doctors say that. I don't know. What annoys me is when they say, you'll never walk again. You'll never. That being said, I think that statement is motivation for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Like, they'll never walk again, and then the person goes, well, I'll show you, and then do it. And so I get it. But the you'll never do this again bugs me. I would rather them say that than you're going to get up and walk again. This is
right.
What I think. What you should say is, hey, here are the percentages. The chances are low.
Yeah.
It's not impossible. It's very, 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 very hard, and it's not super likely, but it does happen. And you need to be working your ass off. And if you're not ready to work your ass off literally every single day, then it's 100%.
That's it in a nutshell. Is the approach of it. You know, like
you need to, and you being a former athlete, and still an athlete, like your athletic career has like changed, but you being an athlete, like, have the mindset already. All right, well, today's a 3-hour grind day, and that's totally fine. People that don't have that mindset, we're like, you mean I got to train for 3 hours today?
That's what bothered me the most is, like, objectively you could say for incompletes, like, it really is a black box. Like, yeah, majority of the people will not walk again based on the data that we have, but like some will, and some, or really what we're finding out is the people that like put the work in and go through it, you know, well, they end up
tens of thousands of repetitions is what you need.
They end up having like a lot better recovery than people think, but it's the approach of the doctors, you know. It's like you said, I've had those doctors telling me, like, because like I was telling them in rehab all the time, like, okay, well, can I do that? Can I try the FES bike? Can I do this? Can I do that? And he basically told me, like, look, you need to put your focus on
what slap
you need to put your focus on independence and not recovery. And I was looking at it as like, look, I'm not disregarding independence in any way, because I want to be able to get dressed and take a shower and not rely on a caregiver. But like, I will figure out independence, but like I disagree. Like, recovery is like my number one thought.
Yeah, what
you know,
slap like doctor is telling you, hey, focus on independence. You can work on independence at any point down the road.
Right.
It may be harder because insurance things, and if you don't do this in insurance,
but also like,
and it's stupid because they're going to kick you out.
It doesn't matter that they're a doctor, but like who is anyone to tell you what your life should be focused on?
Yeah, it should be focused on recovery. Whether it's from injury or it's from something else.
And like, regardless, it's like my life should be focused on what I want it to be focused on. Like, you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
they
you know what I mean?
Granted, they may be saying that because if you, for insurance purposes, keeping you in there, if you're not focused on independence, insurance is going to go.
And on the
he's out.
And on the flip side, I had another doctor in Santa Clara who's incredible, who gave me a ton of hope and told me, like, look, man, like, you're incomplete. You've regained your hand function already. Like, your sensory is coming back a lot. Like, exactly what you were saying. Like, you're gonna have to work your ass off, but like, it's possible. Like, he never once gave me false hope, but he gave me some hope. And he was never You know, he was never giving me false hope. He was never telling me it was going to be terrible. He was just telling me what it is.
Yeah.
But he was trying to help me. Whereas the other guy, you know, was really just, you know, kind of a prick. But so I don't want to come across as like every doctor I've come across has been negative and terrible. And it's different for everyone.
So many good ones. So many.
Yeah.
And I think
like
the
that
phrasing is.
And like that one guy was great. But yeah, that's the whole thing is the phrasing, you know, because that one doctor does serve motivation for me currently, but at the time he like wrecked me, you know. I mean talk about like deflating someone. Like some of the things, this was more in regards to like when I was asking him what are my likelihood of recovering and this and that, and he was just, I don't even think he meant to. He's just a doctor, you know. They're very stern. They give you the statistics. I don't think he meant to be like how it came across, but the way he was, and when he's like, you know, you have a very small likelihood, you need to focus on independence, like you're likely never going to walk again, and you hear that and you're just like, Jesus, like it's the worst, you know. But on the other doctor, on the other hand, isn't telling me I'm going to walk again, but he's positive and upbeat and telling me how well. You don't even have to say, you know, you're going to walk again, but if someone is positive and upbeat and saying like, hey, you're doing really good, you know, like there is this chance.
Yeah, the
just
percentage is not zero. That's what you need
exactly.
to hear. That's what you need to hear.
Just don't crush people's dreams.
Yeah,
like literally, I don't think they realize how sensitive people's like feelings and emotions are. Like,
it's
you know, and I get it. They're a doctor. They deal with injuries. Like they're kind of, you know, desensitized to these things because they deal with it, and I get that. Like they got to deal with all these crazy things, but at the same time, you know, with spinal cord and probably brain and other things, like a little bedside manner could go a long way.
It's probably tough. I think, yeah, because they're dealing with someone who's dealing with neuro injuries. It's every day they're dealing with someone who has relatively recently had one of the, if not the worst days of their life.
Right.
And so then you have to give them that news.
And I bet you too, like in that regard, doctors think like, God, I could be in this guy's room for an hour because he's upset and he's going to ask me 1,000 questions.
Yeah.
But if I'm like stern and I just tell him the deal, then I can get in and get out.
But you could be stern. You can be direct.
I'm like
and
trying
tell someone
to,
like, hey, this is what it is. But
I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt in the sense that like I like to think that I'm a well-rounded person. I like to view perspective. So like I guess what I'm saying is I understand their approach. I could understand why that would be their approach, but we're at a different time now where like so many, like how many people that were paralyzed are walking, you know? Yeah. How many spinal cord injuries, brain injuries, other neurological things happen where people are having much better outcomes than we once previously thought, you know,
the care all the way along the line,
all the rehab, you know, maybe the makeup of the person's motivation, our understanding of neuroplasticity now, like our brains are capable of changing and rerouting, and we used to think that they were just like done, you know. So I guess what I'm getting at in this like philosophical rant is doctors, I hope that they, you know, can start to kind of change their approach and kind of see like,
I think they are.
I think they are, and I think it's kind of
But the problem is,
it's just
they want to see
slow
research. They don't want anecdotal stuff. Many of them don't want anecdotal evidence. They want to say, "Hey, here's this paper that shows this."
I need the data. I need the numbers. I need the studies.
That's how they got into med school, was by seeing paper and reading and regurgitating.
Which, and the same people were the ones to tell me don't waste your time with doing like scalp acupuncture, which I still do now, and like meditation and all these things.
And if you say meditation doesn't work, then you've probably never tried it.
And that's an example of like, you know, I can't give you data on meditation, but like,
but
But if I can collect my thoughts better and collect my mind better and change the way I think and be more positive, like, that's shit that you can't study, but like I will get better because of it.
And will translate into then when you are working out, you are doing something better that you can study.
Which leads me into there's things that will get people better and things that people should be doing, even if they maybe think that it won't work.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't put, there's some things that you can't really study,
Yeah.
Let's go to the bathroom.
You go to the bathroom?
As I hit another cloud.
Oh. White Claw. Well, we're doing work on these right now.
We got to do work.
Oh my goodness.
Take a little intermission here.
Yep.
Get the D.
Alright, do you remember where we're at? What are we talking about?
And I got off on a rant about doctors.
Oh yeah, we were talking about how they how they're probably like let me grab a couple of these. How they're probably like it's hard to talk to however many patients they're talking to who are having catastrophic injuries and insane times of their lives. So you got to kind of detach yourself, but even still,
finding that fine line.
Yeah, between don't be like these are the hard facts because there aren't any. Other than it's gonna be a tough fucking road if you get to that point.
Exactly.
But you may not get there, but the percentage isn't zero. And say that other than you will never do this. But I think sometimes so doctors having to go through med school, all that stuff. Even to get through med school, you have to be super smart or at least a good test taker. Like a super good test taker. You may not be super smart because there's sometimes when I think people are like, there's a difference between smart and intelligent. Like some people are super smart, and then when it comes time to be intelligent and to apply your smarts.
I was just thinking, I feel like where you're getting at is what this can make for are doctors that have no fucking personality.
Yeah, none, right? None personality.
Literally zero
or
emotion.
That know all the things to do and can't apply it. You can be smart and know everything, and be not intelligent at all and have no way to apply it. So it doesn't matter how much you know because you're shit at applying it. Then what are you doing? You can't take something from one situation and change it just a little bit to apply a concept to another situation.
Yeah.
And then you're maybe a good doctor in one field, but you're missing so many things. Or not even doctor, maybe good at something, but you can't do another thing. It's like I can play guitar, but I'm not great at banjo. That may be bad because I don't know. But there are some similarities. If you can't apply a concept from one to another, and that's someone from.
For sure.
Actually, I don't know how many people listen to this, but someone who plays banjos is like, well, they're totally fucking different. It's actually...
That's a terrible example.
It's actually closer to a saxophone than you think.
Of all things you could have said.
You said guitar and banjo.
What did we ever do to you?
Bitch, they both have strings. There's something that you can apply. No, but, so... Just being able to connect with a small element of, okay, here's a small percentage... This is what it is, and leave them with that, and then let them digest that. So there's not zero hope, but you don't say that you're going to walk again, because I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think it should be said either, because then because odds are
for sure.
So and you just got to go with that. No.
Unfortunately, I had that one doctor, like I said, that was like that.
Mm-hmm. So what do you do for rehab now? Then, or exercise, rehab, fun. What's your daily life like now? Then, now that you're 20 months out, what's going on?
So currently, currently I'm not working.
Do you want to?
I'm not going to school. Yeah, so that's kind of something that I'm focusing on now.
What do you want to do?
Is either starting to work again, or potentially going back to school, maybe pursuing my MBA.
Okay.
The only thing with that is I just, school-wise, with it being the financial obligation that it is, at some point you need to figure out kind of the avenue that I want to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Even leading up to my accident, I was working in the wine industry, but I was still trying to kind of figure out career-wise what I wanted to do. So basically, what I'm like, I don't want to just go to school. Like, obviously, if I'm gonna make that financial commitment, I want to make sure that I'm gonna apply it and it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, like, everything is kind of focused on recovery, but I want to start getting into some, focusing on something else as well. But throughout these 20 months, between either 3 or 4 days a week, I have therapy outside of the house. And then I have things that I do at home that I do every day. Outside of the house, I go to SciFit with you guys twice. Mainly, I've been going twice a week for a while. I went 3 days a week, where I go for 2 hours, and of course, just work on gait training, a lot of core strength training, anything and everything, to work on your connections and work on strengthening for recovery. And then I go to San Jose once a week for a while I was going twice a week, but I kind of scaled back a little bit for scalp acupuncture.
Where do you do that at?
I go in San Jose, and
what's the name of the doctor?
Dr. Zhu.
What is it? ZH?
Yeah, ZHU. And I get needles put in my scalp, and the idea is to kind of, jumpstart your nervous system, I guess, from the motor cortex.
It's the same line that the Halo Neurosport headphones run over. It's the same line. Your needles come in at the same point we need to put those headphones on.
So they get the needles in, and then I do a couple hours of physical therapy after. The idea is to, strengthen and get those signals going to whatever muscles you're working on.
And do you notice a difference when the needles are in versus when they're not in?
I do, yeah. Just like I have a little bit of foot movement before, and when the needles come in, some days it's as much as like double the movement. Some days it's just a little bit. But I'll notice like movements are a little bit easier, and like I have a stronger connection when they're in, which is pretty crazy, really.
Right. Go to Eastern medicine so that shut up. Let it work.
Look at my foot.
Let it
Look
work.
at my foot, doctor.
Just because it didn't work for you or something you didn't know doesn't mean it doesn't work. It means it's not 100% effective. Just like all the fucking medicines we have aren't 100% effective. So try it at least. Like, I can't say that. Sorry.
Exactly. Like, try being open-minded.
Hey, maybe.
There's this new concept.
It's crazy how that happens. Like, just try it. Just give it a chance. Go into it and don't be like, well, this is going to suck. Just do it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a really cool place. And
do you know the name of the clinic or the hospital or where you get it done?
Yeah, it's called Zhu's Scalp Acupuncture.
Is it on Jackson out there?
It's in San Jose. What's that?
Is it in Japantown out there, right? In San Jose?
I don't know technically like what area it's in, but it's off of Brokaw.
Oh, okay. By the airport?
Like near the airport.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's definitely like a work-centric area.
Yeah, I know where you're at.
A lot of businesses. And in addition to some of the like movement that I've gotten back, I know it's helped a lot with like sensation and like bladder sensation, bowel, and
that's huge.
Yeah, for sure. So, and sensation overall, like, I mean, again, it's hard to pinpoint, like this, I'm this much better because I'm doing this. Like, you can't attribute, it's hard to attribute, like, what therapy is making you better and at which rate. Like, it's all really hard, you just do what you can, but,
yeah,
we get pretty in tune with our bodies and what we feel and what we can't feel. And it definitely seemed like once I started going there, sensation-wise, and movement-wise, it's really
sensation-wise and movement-wise
helped out quite a bit. Yeah.
So good. So the acupuncture, SCI Fit. I know you do your own weight training. Like you'll train for 2 hours with us, and then you'll stay and do an hour of like pulling and extra work. I know I see you do that too.
Yeah, I try to mainly just
pulling, being like pull-ups and rows and that kind of thing, because you do so much pushing. Like a lot of people don't understand. Ooh, Alabama. A lot of people don't understand like how much pulling needs to occur Like when you're pushing all the time, your main mode of transportation is pushing your wheelchair forward all day, every day.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
3 sets of 10 rows is not enough. It needs to be like 4 sets of 40.
Exactly.
And it needs to be a shit ton. And then if you're tired, keep going.
And then, like, in addition to pushing yourself in the wheelchair, with like probably the poor ergonomics of my wheelchair and my core strength and like sitting lazy, like
posturally, you talking about like
posturally, you know, you're always forward.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm hunched.
Yeah.
So I'm like, God, I gotta pull. And yeah, so I stay after to do that, and sometimes I'm pretty tired, but even just getting a little bit in.
That's where I'm talking about, like your statement right there. Sometimes I'm pretty tired. That's where the athlete comes in.
Yeah.
Of course you're pretty tired sometimes. Like, it's middle of the summer and you're training for something, and sometimes you're pretty tired. And you have an hour and a half practice to go to. Mm-hmm. You can't skip practice. You just do it. And sometimes you're pretty tired.
This is what you gotta do.
I can't skip this. You just do it. Because once you're done, that time's going to go by whether you do it or not. Just do it.
Just do it.
And it'll be better when you're done. You're already there. Like, for you specifically, you're already at the gym. Just fucking stay.
I have no excuse. I have no excuse with traffic, because Natomas to Woodland, like there's no traffic. Nobody's going to Woodland.
No one goes to Woodland.
Apparently, a lot of people go to Woodland in the morning for work because that traffic's crazy on the way back. We're getting pretty big now, right?
No, jeez. Because everyone wants to see the sunflowers.
We're pushing over 60K, baby.
It's going to be winter time. There's no more sunflowers. No one's coming to Woodland.
Traffic dies.
And then socially, you do like you're out a lot. You go to concerts. You go to games like Bat Kings games. You go to Rivercats. We went to a Rivercats and a Kings game. You go to you're out at bars. You're out at all types of things. Like, how is that now with your chair? Like in Sacramento, how is it for you? And how is it other places in terms of what's the accessibility like?
Yeah, this year I'm definitely like getting out of the house more compared to last year.
Well, probably helps that you can drive now.
Definitely, yeah, definitely makes it a lot better. Because that's tough. I mean, you know, to get downtown Sac could be a good half an hour, and it's like, what am I gonna do? Put that on like my parents? You know, like, hey, like, can I get a ride out to Sac at 9 p.m. You know, on a Friday, and Can you take me home after I kill some Moscow mules at 1 a.m.? It's like, no, I'm not gonna.
Can you come help me get me a lift into this car with my limp neck?
Could you bring me some snacks on a ride at 1 a.m.?
I'm basically a crash test dummy. I'm gonna need you to lift me. I'm gonna need you to lift me into the passenger seat right now. I know you haven't done it yet, but this is on the test, on the job training.
I'm a crash test dummy. That's hilarious. So yeah, like, wouldn't got as much just because it was kind of tough, you know, unless I could get a ride. But driving's a lot better. So yeah, like, accessibility wise, I mean, yeah, that is kind of. I always see things on the internet like, you know, it's the disability isn't the problem, like, it's accessibility. And I'm like, well, they both kind of suck, but I'm like,
sometimes the disability it's not a problem.
Yeah, I'm like, well, they both are, but but I get the point of, it's like, you know, I'm completely like good to go in my wheelchair, but like there's steps and different things, and just a slight angle, like a slight curve, you know, in the cement can really screw with you, you know.
That you would never notice if you were just.
That you would never notice when you're walking, you know. So that can be difficult, but overall, I feel like Sac's pretty good, especially compared to New Orleans. I went to New Orleans a few weeks ago for a bachelor party, which was a ton of fun.
Oh yeah,
and I had a ton of help. I was with a bunch of my buddies, you know. And
was that your first time flying post-injury? Yeah,
and I'm pretty much fully independent now, so I didn't really need a lot of help besides just kind of, you know, can you help me up this curb? Can you, you know, when I wheelie down this thing, can you make sure I don't, like, eat shit? And,
backwards.
Yeah, because, like, in New Orleans, you know, it's not accessible at all. So that was, like, a really good experience for me to kind of get out, travel, just get on the plane, go through that, and go to a city that's not accessible at all. Because when I come back home now, like, running errands in Woodland and like going to meet friends in Sacramento, and I'm not going to SAC like too often, you know, but when I do, it's all like fairly easy.
Yeah, you appreciate it a little bit too, like
for sure.
like just the little things like there's a ramp here on the curb, the dip in the curb where you can come in, and those annoying little yellow dots that you.
And it's we're fortunate to with all the newer infrastructure that we have in California and the U.S. versus like if you have this injury in a lot of Europe, even, which is, you know, very industrialized and obviously very modern, like the accessibility can be very difficult in Europe.
Yeah.
And that's not even talking about like South America, Asia, Africa. I mean,
yeah, it gets worse.
Like accessibility. So again, I just try to like put in perspective. Like I'm gonna struggle, and there's times where it's tough, and there's gonna be times where you're just like, fuck, like this just sucks. I just, you know, you're gonna maybe have your meltdowns or whatever. But I just think about like overall for accessibility, like I'm probably in the best place in the world. Probably
one of the, if not
California,
the,
like North, yeah, California.
California's so expensive. It is expensive. I get it. Then we pay for a lot of things, and taxes for a lot of things, all this stuff. But when you go other places, you see the things that are like, oh, you can get down a curb a little easier. Like little things that we wouldn't notice, and then all of a sudden, like just a little shit that goes different places that make big differences to people that you wouldn't think about until you know someone in the situation. Sure.
So many, yeah. Right. So that's a big thing, but yeah, accessibility, you know, is a tricky thing, and I think in terms of like what's difficult and challenging with like this, you know, adapting to this life versus the old one is I was living in Sonoma County before, and I have a bunch of friends in places that aren't accessible, you know, so...
In Sonoma?
In Sonoma County. Well, like, they're, you know, a second floor of an apartment.
No elevator?
Or their houses, no.
They don't have an elevator in an apartment in California?
No.
Isn't that illegal?
I don't know. Well, according to my friend.
I feel like...
Even some houses, though, are, like, raised elevation, you know?
I think
with
like
4 or 5 steps to get in.
This is me having almost no knowledge of that. No, but like an apartment building.
That's a tough deal. Yeah.
That sounds not legal. I could be totally wrong.
I feel like I could think of older complexes. Yeah, you would think that you would have to.
Like you have to retrofit that bitch. Like.
No, so you just have
put an elevator in there, like you.
Or just anyone with or just anyone with a disability lives.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, what like? But that's tricky because you say, "Oh, if you have a disability, you can't live on this floor and get this view."
Well, I'm sure that's something. I'm sure that's something.
I don't know.
Changed.
Or you can't go see your friend that lives here if you have a disability. Like I don't know if that's. Maybe they don't know there's an elevator in there. That's
the tough thing really is like, I just want to go hang out with my friends in Windsor, you know, but there's like 4 steps to get in the front door.
Yeah, I think like a residence is different, like a personal residence is different.
That's different for sure.
Yeah, if it's my house, you can, if I don't look, fuck off if I don't want you in. like that, I get it. But if it's like a apartment building, 400 units, you probably have to have an elevator up to any floor that's housing some human being. That'd be my guess. I don't know.
We need to get better exoskeleton suits. So I can just...
Dude, they're getting better pretty fast. That's what happens with technology. They're getting better pretty fast. I mean, after having seen what they were just even 3-4 years ago to the ones now, like that Rewalk is getting smaller. The exoskeleton out there in Richmond is getting better. Like they have another one called.
Thinking, like that'd be so cool to if they could.
Have you used? Well, they have to. First of all, they have to be.
I'm also
FDA approved to be able to be used and all those.
I'm just dreaming of like this thin thing that I could like slip on my pants.
Yeah. Have you been in them at all? Like a Rewalk or exoskeleton out in Richmond? Dude, so we've had Rewalk come to the facility. And there's another brand Indigo, I think it is, Arizona. I want to say it's out of Indigo, out of Arizona. It's another like exoskeleton company,
Okay.
and they're doing like those three. Like they're making strides. Exoskeleton is in Richmond. It's close.
Okay.
You should go. Teresa's been there a bunch. You should look into that and see what it looks like.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they're legit. Yeah, it's. I think the company is exoskeleton. And it is an exoskeleton. Rewalk has that. It used to be a backpack. Now it looks more like a fanny pack.
What do they just like sell that equipment, or do they do different things with patients, or
They like sell have the equipment to be
To use?
trial with it. You can go. They'll sell it to you if you want to buy it. They'll sell it to you for sure because the shit is 5 figures, right? They're not going to turn that down. Like,
right?
But they're making like just what I've seen them go from. It looks like you have a backpack on to now you have a fanny pack on the backside. You stand up and you're moving. There are different things about them. One of them is like, all right, it's on a timer and you need to step blah 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 at this rate. And other ones you're hitting certain checkpoints and then it'll move you through the step based on this. If you can't hit the checkpoint, it's not going to advance you. They all have, for lack of a better, like canes, but it's loft strand crutches, right? It's forearm crutches that you're moving with, and but like. I'm not as sure about Indigo, but I've heard good things about it. Like
That's cool.
the Richmond one is, I think, is the one that's based closest to it. That's
Richmond's close,
exoskeleton,
too.
yeah. But I don't know. Those would be good to look into.
So that's like the therapy that I'm doing currently, and I don't need to, but what I would like to do is add on some like aquatic therapy.
Oh, dude. Yeah, well, you have your pool right here?
Yeah, so in the summer I was using it a bunch. Mm-hmm. I was getting in
On that super hot.
I was getting in most days for quite a while when it was super hot, yeah. Putting on some Maui Babes. Shout out to Kayla. Thanks for that. So yeah, I would swim around, stretch. I could hold on to the side and kind of take some super broken, funny steps, which was awesome.
Yeah, I bet.
Because like with my trunk control, being
Or lack thereof, I guess.
or exactly with my lack of trunk control, the pool, it's pretty awesome because like my upper body could be off to this like way off to the right side, and I'm just like swing my left through like huge, then I grab myself and I'm like like I think of it like what is it, like that blow up noodle that you see for like
in front of used car dealerships.
yeah, the used car noodle. I'm in the pool and like I'm one of those noodles, I'm off to the side, then I can swing it back.
Yeah.
So yeah, the pool is awesome, and now that our weather's changing, I want to get into a pool and kind of do
indoor one. Have you looked into like Easter seals?
I have not.
I know they have, like, we have a couple people that go to Easter seals to do aquatic therapy, or even just like a 24-hour where you can go in. They have a lift there, and you can get in the pool. And
I have gone to a gym
and walk
pool before,
the lanes.
which is
Like,
cool.
we have a couple people that do that too, but I think you should, because that's one of those things that the volume accumulation over time in terms of repetitions of steps, even though they're broken steps, they're still steps, and you're still patterning that. And we talk about neuroplasticity, and you need tens of thousands of repetitions. But if you're getting 100 a day, that adds up quickly,
for sure.
right? And you might as well do it because it's.
Well,
the time's gonna, like we said, the time's gonna go by whether you do it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
You might as well just do it.
Not that I've got, not to say that it's more beneficial now than before, but now that I've got a little bit more function in my legs too, it would really be cool to do that and to try it out more.
But there's an element of it. It's not beneficial before, but
it's probably
the
more
more
beneficial
the
now.
better you get, the more beneficial things come. That's the reality of the situation,
Yeah.
right? Like you at first, when you're sitting down in your chair, it makes no sense to practice broad jumping because broad jumping isn't going to help. The better you get, broad jumping is going to help you more and more and more. We're doing like right, and so it applies now that as you got a little better, it's going to help more and more and more as you get closer and closer and closer to the things you want to do.
Yeah.
Whatever those are. And like, I think you should just be
So like therapy wise, yeah, I
walking
want
that shit out.
do more stuff like that. And I guess overall, like I said, in life, I want to start either go back to school or work maybe part-time. Just something to kind of keep my mind, occupied. And
You're good. You need to be like people facing too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
serving people wine at the winery again. Like you need to be doing that.
Well, I think in the beginning, I go back to like when it was really tough in the beginning. I kind of thought like, oh well, I'm just gonna put my life on pause for like a year or 2 or 3,
I think that's normal.
and then like get better, and then when that time comes, then I'll just like press resume. But it's like realistically, that's not really realistic. That's not really how life works. Like I can't live in like a paused state of. I know I'm getting kind of off.
No,
but
no, I
you know what I mean.
I get it. You can't live in just.
So I'm like, I can't just. I don't want to spend 3, 4, 5 years solely focused on recovery in the sense that, there's things I could do to help build my career or further educate myself, and also, like, I don't know if it's probably not good for my mind to only just be doing one thing all the time. Like,
No, it doesn't help your mind grow.
Because even currently, there's times where like if I have too much free time, I'm not necessarily going to use it wisely. Mm-hmm. Like it could be toxic. I'm like, I kind of just want to like play loud music and like play like FIFA, like play video games for like 6 hours and like shut off from the world, And it's like, and then I look back and I'm like, damn, during those 6 hours I could have done the bike, I could have done the standing and all these things, So, what do they say? Like busier people accomplish more and like do more things in less time because they're just more productive.
Just find some. Just do right. Because even if you didn't have this injury, on your downtime, you should be finding something to better yourself. Whether that's better yourself mentally or better yourself physically or better yourself spiritually or whatever you want to better yourself, you're trying to find things to improve yourself in some way. So part of improving yourself in some way is when you get back to working, it's going to be sometimes your improvement is going to be physical and it's going to be therapy. Sometimes it's going to be mental. Sometimes it's going to be blah, blah, blah. And as long as you're working toward improvement, you're still going to... all those lines are going to meet in a certain place in terms of self-improvement. Yours may be more physical for you than some people, but for some people it may be less physical. Like, I mean, some people,
and like, even though it sounds funny and I can make a lot of jokes about it, like going out and meeting friends and like getting a couple beers is therapy in itself.
Fuck yeah, it is. It's huge. It's huge because you've been so isolated for so long.
Exactly.
So to get out by yourself, one, drive yourself there, or get yourself a ride there, whether it be paratransit or something else, because whatever, right? Just to be able to go out, be with friends, and be Nate.
Yeah, exactly.
And have fun, and then come home and just have that night.
Be able, like, when I was able to leave the house and drive myself, meet up with friends and drive myself home, doing that for the first time was great, in the sense that, I can go do that and, my parents are sleeping and I can go, do something on my own. That was really empowering for sure.
That's good. I had to be nice.
And I had some other good point to make, and of course I lost it.
How was it moving back in with your parents after being out with them after your injury?
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. Like whether you're hurt or not, it's going to be an adjustment moving back home with mom and dad. So there's like that. There's that aspect of it.
Yeah.
That there's just going to be a natural adjustment. And then there was the added, like, I'm out of the hospital, trying to kind of figure out life, and how to live day to day in the wheelchair. But with kind of those challenges, like with that being said, this was probably like the best transition I could have really hoped for. Like my parents are great and help me out in whatever way they can, and they stuffy nose today. They realize Then I like to have my alone time. There's times when I just kind of want to shut off, you know. They let me do my thing, and
That helps for sure.
they're here for me and help me out. So yeah, it's honestly been really good. And as much as I would love to be like back in Sonoma County, living with my friends, or you know, doing something else. On the positive note, it's also nice kind of being home more and spending more time with my family. My sister moved in for a bit, so I've been getting to hang out with Anna more. My other sister lives in Sacramento, so I've got to hang out with Maddie, you know. So, you know, again, it's like there's a lot of things that are difficult, you know, and I wish every day that things were like they used to be, but there's also a lot of positives and good things too, you know. Like I'm spending more time with my family. I have different friends that are close by that I didn't hang out with before, or when I was living in Sonoma County I wouldn't see as much, that I've got to get closer to now. So so it's been a transition for sure, but there's you know, there's definitely been some positives and some good things. When I was in Santa Clara, I met this patient who was about my age, and I was talking to his dad. And I thought his dad made a really good comment. I haven't forgot it. He said, like, spinal cord injury is something no one would ever sign up for, but you meet a lot of good people along the way. And I look back now, and it's like, you know, friend, you know, hanging out with you, my friendship with all you guys at SciFit, the people that I've met. Like I said, people that I've already known, but I have a much closer relationship now because I'm moving home, you know. So it's like, there's been there's been a lot of good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good, you know. Like,
do you think it's strengthened your relationship, like especially like your dad? Like I know you're here a lot with my man Steve.
Yeah.
Like, you think it's because more than one person has made a comment like, "Hey, I wasn't that close with my parents," and I have a suspicion you're probably pretty close to your parents anyway. But like, has it strengthened your relationship with your parents after that, and your sisters after that?
Yeah, I would agree. Like with both points, like I was pretty close with my parents and my sisters before, but I'm definitely a lot closer now. You know, living here and yeah, it's been cool to just get closer. My dad, like I said, has had, you know, his ankle worked on and had some heart things and stuff. So it's nice to help, you know, help him out too and give him company.
That's nice.
You know, so that's been really cool. And that monster behind you, Zoe, it's cool to hang out there.
Yeah, the monster, Zoe. Yeah. Well, dope, man.
We got.
Well, shoot. Probably ended. How you feeling?
Yeah, I feel good.
Shut it down right here.
I've been ranting quite a bit. I would say.
Yeah.
I guess in conclusion, I kind of went from thinking like, oh, I got to put my life on pause and then one day I'll resume it, to where now I'm like going to therapy. You know, I'm going to start going to school or start working again. I'm going out more. I'm starting to implement normalcy back into my life, which I think is kind of key with this injury, because you feel so alienated and so removed from everything or like your previous life. So I guess just you know, in conclusion, moving forward, what I'm working on now is just, you know, I'm not one day going to resume my life. This is my life, you know, and I'm gonna.
It has resumed.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it has resumed, and I gotta work towards doing whatever I can to just, you know, continue to make it better physically, mentally, emotionally, and everything else.
Love it. Well, thanks for doing this.
Yeah,
I know we've been trying to do it for a while, and then
I also get kind of hello, Zoe. I go off on tangents to get kind of spacey, so
couldn't care less.
So hopefully, whoever listens enjoys that.
All right, baby.
And I'm gonna end with throwing a hot Cheeto to my dog.
Get it? Got it. Got it.
What you know about? What you know about?